Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to today's webinar. We're really excited to go through Yext AI Search for Salesforce. Feel free to ask any questions that you have in the Q&A as we go along, and we'll make sure to cover them at the end, but we're going to get started. Great. So for our agenda today, we're going to just introduce who will be speaking. Then we'll go through a full end-to-end demo of how to set up Yext AI Search for Salesforce. We'll talk a little bit about it beforehand. Then we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up on the roadmap, and then we'll have time for a Q&A at the end. Great. So to get started, my name is Dana Fezgen. I'm a solutions product manager here at Yext. I helped build out our Salesforce integration, and I will be going through the overview and part of our Salesforce demo. And then we have Henry here with me, who is going to be going through another part of the demo later on. We're happy to be here. Great. So first, let's just go over what Yext AI Search for Salesforce is right now. So what we currently have is a data connector that pulls in all of your help articles, or Salesforce calls them knowledge base articles, from Salesforce into Yext. This allows you to easily create entities between what you have in Salesforce and on Yext, and it's easier to set up your Yext knowledge graph. Once you have all of that data set up in your knowledge graph and you've built out your answers experience, then what you can do is we have a very easy way to set up help site search onto your Salesforce powered help site or site. We also have capabilities for case deflection and agent desktop search. And Henry will go through all of those in more detail later on, so don't worry if that was a little bit quick. Great. Just to take a look at this from a high level, so you really understand the flow. We have data in Salesforce. So we have those Salesforce knowledge articles. Those are living and breathing in Salesforce. We have a connector that will allow you to pull those knowledge articles from Salesforce into Yext. You'll get all of your help articles and any other content that you have in different sources to build out your answers experience. And then we'll be able to easily add these three solutions onto your Salesforce powered help site. So this is kind of a nice overview of the full flow and what we'll show you today with Salesforce. With that said, we will get right into the demo. So I am going to pretend I'm a new Yext user. I just set up my Yext account, and now I want to pull in my knowledge articles from Salesforce. So I'm going to click Add Entity. And once we get to our connector screen, we have a bunch of different options to easily pull in other content from other sources, but I'm going to pull in my help articles from Salesforce Service Cloud. So I'm going to go through the flow. I'll click Install on Yext. This will just pop up this nice OAuth window for me. And then I'm going to log into my Salesforce account right here that has my knowledge articles. Great, hope I got my password right. And then I'll go get this code. So Salesforce is very secure. So we have a lot of two-factor authentication moments with them, which is a good thing. Great. So once I verify that this is my account, I'll go to step 2. And if you have very custom fields on your Salesforce knowledge articles, you'll be able to map them to the Yext fields here. So I'm going to map the name field in Yext to the title field from Salesforce. And I'm going to map my body field in Yext to this custom article body field that I made in my account. And just to show you again, these are the available fields on our help article entity within Yext. If you did want to create a custom field or have any other fields on your help article, they would show up here to be options to map to. So if you had a custom field that was like category, you could have category here in Yext, and then find your category field in this whole Salesforce list, and then map it to that. So it's up to you what fields you have. I'm just going to keep these mappings for now, just to keep things simple. And then I'm going to click Save. Great. And then the next thing you do is let us know where your articles are visible. So I know that for the articles that I'm about to pull in, they're visible in the internal app on Salesforce, and they're visible in my public knowledge base. So I'm going to click save. Great. So this is the overview of what I just did. Very simple. If I had more fields and more custom things, I could definitely add those in. And I'm going to go click view my entities. Cool. So I only had 5 help articles in my Salesforce account, and all 5 came in. So we can click into one. These are just copies of our fields from our help articles from our Yext help site. So something common people do on Yext is creating custom fields. Now I have my help article in here, which is great. So now I can do whatever I want. I can go create an answers experience just with these 5 entities. I can add in more data by using one of our other connectors or building out a connector myself, or I can add more data single-handedly or with a file. And that's something that's a really nice feature about Yext, is that we can pull in all of this data from different sources to be able to use it in your answers experience, which you can then have on Salesforce. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Henry to show what a full-fledged answers experience will look like on Salesforce.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Dana. Assuming everybody can see my screen, I'm going to walk through now what it's like to actually set up Yext AI Search in your Salesforce instance. And the 3 solutions we're going to talk about today is help site search, case deflection, and agent desktop search. Now, coming off of Dana's demo, this assumes that you have data in the platform and that you have built an answers experience in your Yext platform. If you want more details on that, I highly suggest you check out some of the curriculums on our Hitchhiker site. They're really useful and can get you started very, very quickly. This also assumes that you have installed the Yext AI Search app from the App Exchange. And so this is the landing page for our app, and we'll be sure to share it after the demo. So once you have installed the Yext AI Search app, you are going to get confirmation of that in your Salesforce instance. Under installed packages, you're going to see Yext AI Search. But before we can start dragging and dropping Lightning components for the search bar onto your page builder sites, we need to do a little back-end configuration first to make sure that Salesforce trusts our app and allows it to operate. So the first thing we're going to do is, currently I'm in setup. If you don't know how to navigate there, you hit the little gear icon in your Salesforce instance, click into setup. We're going to navigate over to custom metadata types. Now, once you've installed the app, you'll already see these 3 settings appear. But the action we need to take is we need to go into each of them and add a new record. Now that can take a little bit of time. I've pre-filled out 2 of them just to be efficient here. I've already added an agent desktop record and I've added a help site search record, but I'll go through with you today how to add the case deflection settings. And it's really simple. You click into case deflection settings, add a new record, and what it's going to ask you for here is information that is specific to the answers experience you are installing in your Salesforce instance. And so all of the fields you need here are actually under experience properties within the Yext platform. So it's really just a matter of copy and pasting. So for label, we're going to call this case deflection. Once you tab out of this box, the settings name will auto-populate. For our production URL, we're going to be using the Yext help site to demo. So I've got the production URL here. I'll paste it in. We want link target to be a new tab. Account ID, again, found in that experience on this page here in experience properties. Account ID is right here. And then we need the experience key, which is just Yext help site. So once we've put in all those fields, we can save it. We've got now a new custom metadata type file. And so once you've done that for all 3 agent desktop, case deflection, help site search. You're done with custom metadata types. We now just need to head over to CSP trusted sites to just configure a few more permissions. And so what we are going to add here is I'm actually going to pull it from, we'll share this in the tab, but this is the Yext Hitchhiker Guide to setting up your Salesforce account. These are effectively all the steps that I'm just following for this demo today. Let's see. I just need to find one of the CSP types. Here it is, right at the top. So we've got Pixel, Status, Live APA, Live Cache. These are ones I preloaded just to be efficient. We're going to add Live API Sandbox as well as the 5th and final record. So we're going to do a new trusted site name, Live API Sandbox, the URL. We're going to copy it right from this guide. And what's also really important on this page is that we want to make sure we have selected all of these directives. That's a key step that people often get tripped up on, and then we'll hit save. So now we've got, again, this assumes you've already pre-configured the 4 trusted sites before, and that was the same process I just went through with the name of the URL and taking off those boxes at the bottom. So now we've done all of the backend work. And all we have left to do is to drag and drop those Lightning components onto our page builder. So I'm going to actually build a new page from scratch. Again, in setup, I'm going to navigate over to all sites. You can see I've already created a few test accounts, but I'll make a new one. For template, again, you can choose any of these templates, but just to really show you what it would look like on the Help Center, we're going to use the Help Center template and get started. We'll call this test. Configuring these accounts always takes a couple of seconds on the Salesforce side. Hopefully it should not be long now. Great. So now that we're in our account workspace, we'll jump into Builder. So this is the consumer-facing help site. Of course, this is where somebody's going to land when they have a question, a query, when they're looking to your brand for help. The first thing we want to do is make sure that this search bar here is the Yext search bar. So it's super, super simple to do. You see Hero up at the kind of top of the screen. You click in here, and all you have to do is make sure that the search component is not search, but is Yext search bar native search. And once I do that, you can see the search bar automatically kind of regenerates as the Yext search bar. Now, this is all well and good, but we also need to update the results page, because otherwise, how does this search bar know where to redirect? So to do that, we also have to do a quick settings change. We'll jump into settings, security and privacy. And for clickjack protection, we need to say always allow framing by any page. And security level, we're going to select relaxed CSP. Great. And so now once we've done that, we can click into the search results page. You'll see now that it's empty, just with a content header, footer, and nothing in the contents. All we're going to do to get our Yext answers on this page is under Lightning Components, scroll to the bottom, and you can see we've got a Yext search results page. Simply drag it in, and that's it. Now we've got search results. We can delete some of these other components just to clean up the page. Also, to stay consistent, we want to make sure that this is also a Yext search bar so that if somebody searches in your header, they're also being directed to Yext answers. So we're going to click into the compact header, and in search component, again, just select Yext search bar, native search, and you'll see it'll regenerate as the Yext search bar. Great. So now we've got help site search set up. The next component of the external facing solution is case deflection. And so in our navigational component here under pages, we are going to navigate over to contact support. Now this is of course a screen I'm sure most of you are familiar with. If somebody's got a question, they want to contact one of your support agents, that contact support form will automatically be on the left side here. But we also want to make sure as part of the case deflection solution that people can get answers before they're submitting a case that's going to take up agents' time and resources. So again, you could probably guess it. It's just as simple as finding that Yext case deflection lightning component and dragging it into the sidebar. Let's delete here. And you can also, of course, change any aesthetics, backgrounds, borders, links, etc. And that's it. So let's publish this so we can see kind of clear picture of what it's going to look like for the customer on the front end. So here is our help site. We're going to run a quick test query. How can I add a user role? And you can see we're redirected to a search results page with a lot of different answers. So because this is the Yext help site, we have a lot of different data sources coming in here. We've got help articles, community posts from our hitchhiker community, training modules, guides, events, and even more in here. So of course, help articles are going to surface first, but we've also got community posts related to the user role query, as well as modules and guides. Now to see case deflection, we can click contact support. And let's say for whatever reason, a customer is still going to submit a case. How do I add a user role? As soon as the customer clicks out of this subject line, that query is going to auto-populate in the Yext search component on the right-hand side, with the hopes of course, serving an answer to that customer so they do not submit a case. And these are all those results that you've already seen. One thing just to jump out of this demo quickly that I think is important to highlight is we've also got pretty rich analytics on our case deflection solution, specifically how often are customers starting a case and completing it versus how often a customer is starting a case and not completing it. And of course, with the latter there, if they're not completing a case submission, we are going to assume that that's because they found an answer to their query within the Yext search component on the right-hand side of that case deflection page. So now that we've seen the search site, the help site, the search results page, and the case deflection form, let's quickly talk about our third solution, which is Agent Desktop. Now to get to Agent Desktop, all you have to do is go back to your initial account, click into App Launcher, and go to Service. And under Service, I've made a fake case that we're going to quickly look at. So, whoops, I already have it enabled. We'll take it off quickly so we can just go through the flow. But you're going to get a quick sneak peek of what it would look like to add this component. So if this was the site that all your agents were seeing, they've got a case, a fake one. Hi, I'm trying to add a user role. Can you please assist? There are not many components on this agent page that are going to help your agents get an answer, at least with the out-of-the-box Salesforce solution. And so to add our Agent Desktop search to this screen, all we have to do is what I just did to take it off. We're going to go into Setup, Edit Page, and looking at the components on the left-hand side, we're going to scroll to the bottom and drag Yext AI Search. I personally like it on this right-hand side, but you can really put it wherever you want, at the bottom, in this middle part, on the left part. Let's just stick it right here. Let's save. Let's save. Yeah, changes saved. And so once we go back, we've now got the Yext AI Search component on the right-hand side here. So somebody asks to add a user role. This is the same query we've been using. Add a user role. And now an agent has access to all of your company's materials, wherever they sit. We're going to find the answer across all those sources and allow an agent to be very efficient and serve that answer right back to the customer, saving them time and effort digging through all of the other sources. So those are the three solutions. I'm going to now quickly jump back into the presentation. This is a quick plug for the guide that I leaned on earlier in the demo. It's a really great guide. I think it's one of the best on the Hitchhiker sites, and it walks you through step-by-step how to get up and running with getting Yext on your Salesforce instance. So if you haven't already checked that out, I highly encourage you to. And yeah. So next, I'll kick it over to Dana to talk about the feature roadmap.
Awesome. Thanks, Henry. And if anyone has any questions on Henry's demo, feel free to just add them to the chat. I see Narcy has one in there. We'll definitely get to that after this. Can you go to the next slide, Henry? Cool. So we know that there's a lot we can do with Salesforce. So I just wanted to touch on a few of the upcoming features that we're going to be building out. And if you have any thoughts or feedback, feel free to definitely let us know. But some of the stuff that we're working on is being able to more easily copy, link, and attach articles to cases. This we've gotten a lot of requests for, and we think it'll be really helpful for agents to make it more easy to get the answer that they need from Yext and then add that to the case. We're also working on adding interaction between cases and answers, and then working on an integration with Einstein so that if you have an Einstein chatbot, you can use our Answers API to help give answers to anyone that's using your chatbot. We also know that people love to see analytics in one place instead of having them all over the place. So we are going to create an integration that gets Yext Analytics into the Salesforce CDP. And if you do not use the Salesforce CDP, we do have a few other integrations already with Tableau and likes of Domo, where you can get Yext Analytics into other places. And then we also are going to add another Lightning component that allows you to see related or recommended articles right when you load a page. And similarly with cases, you'll be able to see similar cases to what case you're looking at. And there are a lot more features coming up too. I just didn't want to go through all of them right now, but if any of this catches your eye, get excited. We're going to be building all of these out very soon. Cool. And with that, I think it's time for questions. So we can start going through those. Henry, I don't know if you want to ask a question and answer first.
Yeah, well, I can just respond to the question that Narcy left in the chat. And I'll just read that aloud just for anybody not looking at the chat. I like the analytics, which shows case deflection percentage, very useful. Can you also show which articles are popular based on ranking? This is a good question. We've gotten quite a bit. Within the native Yext Analytics tab, what you can see are which entities, i.e. which articles are getting the most interaction from users, i.e. how many searches are returning that article as a result, how many times is a user clicking on that article, what is the click-through rate. We're also soon to come out with a health score of sorts. But as this relates to rankings, we have dynamic re-rankings of our results based on machine learning so that Yext Answers can detect if a specific article is very popular over time. The more engaged with entities are going to rise to the top of the results page.
Awesome.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Thanks, Henry. Great. And then another question, I'll ask it, Henry. Can you only integrate the search bar onto those 3 pages? So I guess for help site, case deflection, and agent desktop.
No, that is not the case. We can actually integrate anywhere, but those right now are kind of where we see it makes the most sense. But you are not restricted to just those 3 kind of instances, as it were. We can integrate anywhere within your Salesforce experience.
Right. What's nice about those Lightning components is they're Salesforce, they're kind of agnostic to the part of Salesforce that you're on. The 2 pieces, help site search and case deflection, can only be used on experience builder sites, but the widgets that's in agent desktop search can go on that case page, or if you think there's another page you have that will be more beneficial for your agents, then you can put it there too.
Dana, I can ask the next one.
Cool.
And hopefully you can answer. Are you going to support more entity types like Salesforce community posts or cases in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. So definitely, we are just at the beginning of our solution with Salesforce. So what made the most sense is we built out a help article or a knowledge base article connector first, but we're definitely looking into how to pull in Salesforce community posts, how to pull in cases, potentially pulling in other Salesforce objects like opportunities or products, anything that you can think of, we'll be able to pull it in from Salesforce into Yext, and it can be indexed in your search experience.
And that's a nice segue just onto the last question I'm seeing, which is, can you search on more than just Salesforce help articles in Salesforce? And you kind of already answered this, but I also just want to drive a point home. As you saw in my demo with the Yext help site, I was searching against community posts, help articles. As is with any Yext Answers experience, you can search against whatever content that you import into the platform, usually via one of our data connectors. So if you've got content dispersed across your community, whether it's Khoros or Discourse, and you've got content on your YouTube, and you've got content on your help articles elsewhere, Yext will serve as kind of that central repository where we can import all of that data and then search against. And kind of that federated search architecture is really actually one of our differentiators.
Exactly. If your data is somewhere, we can get it into Yext. So it's great. Cool. I think that's all the questions we had. If anyone else has anything else, we can. I
see one in the chat, Dana.
Yeah, I think you kind of just answered it with your question, Henry.
Okay, great.
Unless Rob, was that okay? I love this talking through words. Great. Okay. Or writing, I guess. Cool. Okay, well, we're really excited about Yext AI Search for Salesforce. Great. As I say this, Narcy can type. Cool. A tag. So Henry, I don't know if you want to answer this one or if you want me to.
I mean, Narcy, I'm not completely sure what you mean by tag, but we do have ways. We do have a tagging of sorts in our analytics backend but it's not for entities, more so it's for specific queries. So if we see specific queries coming in that may have a very low click-through rate, we can annotate those queries and note, oh, this question, we need more content to serve an answer because they're not currently serving. We're not really currently serving the correct answer. As of yet, we don't have a way to tag existing articles.
But if you have a tag on your article in Salesforce or something, you could pull that in with that field mapping in the data connector. So you could have a custom field in Yext that's called like Salesforce tag or something, and then pull in that field to map to that. Yeah, you could add keywords too.
Yeah.
So with the data connector, I just didn't have keywords on that help article page. So on your entity, you could add custom fields, tags, category, product, keywords, anything, and then be able to map those fields when you pull in the data. Cool. Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We will be sending this recording sometime later this week. And if you do have any questions about Yext AI Search for Salesforce, feel free to ask in the hitchhiker community, I highly recommend signing up to be in our hitchhiker community, where you can find all of this content about Yext AI Search, the guide that Henry went through, and all of the other things to learn about Yext. But thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.